Hi guys, so what I'm doing today is I'm going to go through a question on how to graph quadratic functions when they're given in particular formats. So the first format we're going to look at is when it's in the format of x take p squared plus q. So we're going to look at how to sketch these functions and actually find particular features of this graph when it's in this format. And there'll be another few videos coming out where they are in different forms, and I'll show you what they look like later on. Okay, so let's have a look at this example here. So we're looking at a graph that is y equals 2, x take 2 squared, take 5. And we're going to determine a few things. So we're going to determine the line of symmetry, we're going to determine the coordinates of the minimum and maximum turning point, and stating which one of it is. So in other words, I'm trying to find the nature of the graph. I'm also going to determine the coordinates of the point where it basically cuts the y-axis, and this means basically your y-intercept, and then we're going to sketch it. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the line of symmetry. Now the line of symmetry is basically the same as P. Okay, so in this case I've got 2. Now just be careful to note that this negative here is also in the formula. So that means this is actually a positive 2, or x equals 2 here. This is not x equals negative 2. Okay? So be very, very careful when you're doing questions like this. It always happens. So people always think that this is a negative 2. It's actually a positive. The only time it's negative is when this is a plus sign. When you see this as a plus, that's when you know it's actually a negative. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually plot that down first, just to kind of help myself out. I'm going to use a ruler and actually plot this feature here. So I'm actually going to label it as well. So this is x equals 2. Okay, so that's easy peasy. So basically my line of symmetry is going to be whatever this p is here. My next question is I'm going to find out what the minimum or maximum turning point is and stating which one it is. So the way I'm going to know this is if I'm basically going to work out and see A, and if A is positive, it's going to be a minimum, or like a U shape like this, that's a minimum. And then if it's opposite way around, if it's a negative, so it's positive A, it's a negative A is going to be a max. Okay, so in this particular case, I'm going to look at my A, or the number in front of my x squared function. Now you can see here this 2 is going to be a positive, so that means it's going to be a minimum. Now I need to actually now find what the turning point is. You'll notice that the turning point tends to occur where the line of symmetry is. So that means my x coordinate for my line of symmetry is going to be P, and I can always substitute that in. But luckily for you, in this circumstance, I've actually got it in a nice format where I can see this coordinate here, P and Q. This is going to give me my turning point. So my turning point is at P, Q. So I'm going to actually find out in this circumstance what it is. So I've got 2 and negative 5. So those 2 points are going to actually indicate to me my turning point. So it is 2, remember it's positive 2, negative 5. Okay. Now I'm going to plot that point on my graph as well. So 2, negative 5, that's my turning point. Now part C is going to ask me to find the y-intercept. So whenever you want to find the y-intercept, you let x equal 0. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to put 0 into this equation here. Okay, so I'm going to go y is equal to 2, 0, take 2 squared, take 5. Now I'm going to just basically solve this. Now negative 2 squared is positive 4. Now positive 4 times 2 is 8. 8 take 5 is 3. Okay, so it's telling me that my y-intercept is 0, 3. So I'm going to plot that too. Okay, oops, wrong way. Oops, 0, 3. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to graph it now. So I've actually put in my key features. So I've put in my turning point. My turning point is 2, negative 5, and I like to label it. I've put in my y-intercept. Now I'm going to actually use my line of symmetry to help me figure out the other side. So because this is 2 spots away here, I'm actually going to use that as a guide to work out the other side. So if it's 2 away here, it's going to be 2 away on this side. Okay, and now I'm going to use my the best of my ability. I always find it very hard to do this. I'm renowned for being terrible at this. Oh, I was going strong. But basically, as long as you connect all these points here, I'm going to put them in red so you can see. As long as you go through these points, then you're all good to go. Okay, so that's how you would sketch a graph when it's in this format, or sometimes known as turning point format.